Hi, so it's time for the second video. So this time not, it's still a pile, but not as bad as the last one. So this is Image. So let's get this in some semblance of. Oh, I've already got in some semblance of order. So there we go. Okay, so first up, we're going to look at now with the UK. We are getting our Image comics for some reason. It's because of the fuck up with Diamond. We seem to get our Image comics in particular, a week later than the rest of the world. So I've not. So there'll be some titles that you see American YouTubers doing reviews of that we've not received yet. So I'll just show you what we have got. So first up is Red Coat number 10 by Jeff Johns, Brian Hitch, and Andrew Curry inking, and colours by Brad Anderson. So it's your typical really nice Brian Hitch artwork. But I've just noticed, are they trying to cast Charlie Hunnam as Redcoat? Because that's definitely his face. So looks like he's using photo reference for Redcoat's face nowadays. But yeah, it's definitely Charlie Hunnam, which would be good casting. So maybe that's what they're hoping, that he might be a comic fan and he might pick it up and go, ooh, I'd like to be in that film. But yeah, so this focuses on Annie Oakley, and it's one of these single issue romps where he has this adventure with Annie Oakley, and he feels something that he's not felt in a long time. He feels love. He kind of falls for it quite heavily, but there's a sting in the tail at the end, and it's fun. It's a really good one and done story, and it sets the scene for the next story arc, which is a free issue story focusing on a character called the Northerner. She's this guy here, so I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, and of course they always have really outstanding double-sided covers. It's a really solid entry into this into the unnamed universe. I've always enjoyed Red Coats, and this doesn't disappoint. But yeah, really enjoyable. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. And then we have, I don't know who my cover's by, but I don't think I've got the main cover. But that's my cover anyway. So this is Geiger number 12, and of course Jeff Johns is not Jeff Johns is on it, of course, but Gary Frank's back on the artwork as per usual, doing there's some wonderful big page spreads on here. So this goes more into the psychology of Geiger, why he is how he is, not just why he's the radioactive man, but why his mindset is the way it is. So Lady Geiger, or the radioactive woman, what she was calling herself, basically tries to teach him to control his powers, but things don't always go the way they plan, or do they? And so that's her in a full radioactive form. And so there's a ongoing mystery with Dr. Molotov, which is this character here, who was behind the whole scenario of why Geiger became like he is. And all I can say is there's a really good twist and tale, and things aren't as they seem. And that's all I can say about the plot, because I don't want to give too much away. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's back on track again. I really did not enjoy. I found the story dipped a bit with the Paul Pelletier artwork, because it was such a weird sidestepping art styles. I'd have preferred it. Artistically speaking, the one who would have been a good fill-in would have been Lionel Francis Yu, because he's very similar in style, but I just found like Paul Pelletier was just too different in style, but that's again complete random tangent. But yeah, really enjoyable, 8 out of 10. And then we have G.I. Joe number 5. I'm buying G.I. Joe, I'm enjoying G.I. Joe, and I have not got any history affiliated with G.I. Joe. I mean, do I look like a G.I. Joe fan? But I love it. I think this is a really fun action comic. I know some people, DC Patrol in particular, whose channel you should follow, he's not keen on Joe DeBelaire's colouring in this. I really enjoy it. I love, it's almost like pop art kind of colouring. For me, it gives me, oh, what's his name? Is it Ken Hollingsworth, I think? I must have got the name wrong, but Matt Hollingsworth. But he's the one who used to colour Hellblazer when Garth Ennis wrote it. he did a lot of matte colours like this, where, and I liked it. It adds mood to the story sometimes. I'm not a big, I guess I'm not a big fan of like standard colouring all the time or standard artwork. I'm not a big fan of like ultra pretty artwork. If it's like ultra realistic. And like some people are really raving over this artist called Mark Spears. He leaves me cold because it's just too photorealistic. So I love this. I love the cartoony elements of Tom Riley's artwork, and I love this almost like wash effect, color, like block color effect on the artwork. It really propels the storyline going on. Yeah, there's action in it. There's dynamism in it. There's twists and turns. It's got a really good. I think I kind of gave away the ending there. I can't really say more than that because I don't really know all the characters, but I'm enjoying it. So that's all that matters. G.I. Joe, like I said, is a blank spot for me, but I'm enjoying what I'm reading. It's just good fun. I would give this an 8 out of 10. And then we have issue 2 of Bug Wars. This is by Jason Aaron and Mahmoud Azra. I've said this before, I'll say it again. For me, it gives me it gives me very much a feel of like Micronauts, where there's this whole microscopic universe, what we're not aware of. So it really develops more the story behind the culture of the people, or these insect people, and there's an ongoing mystery with our main protagonist, how he's got like this jewel in his chest and it gives him powers, but something happens where he loses his powers. He's trying to find the power again, and there's a great bit where he ends up growing back to his normal size, but then he shrinks back down again, and there's new characters introduced, these two characters here, and they end up in like this arena kind of like place where they've basically got to fight to the death against these mosquitoes and that lot. And of course, being this insect world, to them the mosquitoes are like gigantic, but just as deadly. And because so imagine a mosquito 100 times bigger than, or 1,000 times bigger than it normally is, how deadly that would be. And it develops more about the history of his. It develops more about his brother and what effects he has by mowing the lawn, because obviously the lawn that he's mowing is where all these insect people live, so he's viewed as this unnatural, unseen force that's causing devastation to the land. I really enjoyed it. The only gripe I've got is $4.99. I know that's, for me it seems to, because that's unusual for an Image comic, but the art is nice. There are no adverts, but I just found this a bit boring, the back matter. I'd prefer it if there's more like sketches or behind the scenes, but it's more like notebooky kind of thing. I was like, But apart from that, it's still good. 8 out of 10. And then I've got to show this. I don't choose my covers. They end up in my pull box. Most of the time, I just pick them up what they've left me in the pull box. But they left me a variant this time, and it's the Feral number 11, and I adore this cover. It's so good. So I've been singing the praises of Feral. I've gained a few converts. I converted. Just pause this. I need to do my nose again. I converted Geekio Hog to this. So Geekio Hog sums it up, and I agree with it. I think I've said this as well, where it's basically The Walking Dead meets Watership Down, but elevated. So it's got the horror elements of The Walking Dead and Watership Down, because Watership Down, actually no, I say more. It's more like Walking Dead meets Plague Dogs. Haha. But the horror elements are even more elevated, and you really do get invested in these cats. And this is a perfect jumping on point, and there's a new cat introduced, which is this cat here, and later on there's some new characters introduced, and the reveal of the two new characters on the last 2 pages has got me really looking forward to issue 12. Again, I don't want to give spoilers, so I can't give much about the story. All I can say is, if you're not buying this, you're missing one of the best comics out there at the moment. It's so original, so unique. The artwork is just gorgeous. It's got this almost like Secret and Nim kind of art style with realism thrown in, and the characterization of the animals. You forget you're reading about animals. You get invested in each cat. It's just wonderful. I mean, you never lose this sense of menace. Even when there's quiet times, you know that if they take a wrong turn, that's it, their life could be over. It's just great. 9 out of 10. This is a modern day classic. And one that could end up being a modern day classic is a new one from Dennis Camp, Assorted Crisis Events. It looks like I got a variant cover here, but nice cover. $4.99, but I think there's there's a lot of pages. It must be about 50 odd pages in here. So this is basically what would happen if ordinary people were caught in the middle of all these crisis event tangents going on. So wherever you walk, there'll be some new kind of like time shift, parallel universe suddenly appearing. Anything can happen. You could be walking down the street 1 minute and there could be a space dinosaur coming towards you, turn the corner, and there's Nazis have taken over America, which actually is happening. But anyway, but yeah, the art's by Zawadzki and colouring by Jody Belair is really good. I am not familiar with the artist, but I definitely will be checking them out more. And yeah, it's good. I don't know if it's using like the Ice Cream Man kind of format where each story is focused on a different character or a different storyline, but it is very complete in itself. But you can tell it's like one part of a bigger puzzle, and I really enjoyed that. Nothing was wasted. Very clever use of colours as well on certain areas, tied in perfectly with the pen art. The line work by the artist is really, really solid, and yeah, it was a really likeable start to a series. So yeah, I'll be carrying on with this, and I will give this 8 out of 10. And one of my favourite series at the moment are the Universal Monsters, what they're doing. How they do like a sideways story which runs parallel with the films of the Universal Monsters. So this is this time The Mummy, and this is by Faith Erin Hicks. I think she's done more like original graphic novels more than just everyday like monthly comics, but her artwork is really, really nice. I got her cover. The variant covers are nice, but I do like trying to get a cover by the interior artist as well. Her artwork is very distinctive, very different to the previous Universal Monsters artist. This is the one Universal Monster film I don't think I've seen fully all the way through, so I'll have to rectify that. It's got me intrigued. So it focuses on this girl who's one of the main protagonists in the Mummy film, and it basically shows how she gets influenced by Egypt itself, and she feels this pull of the land. And of course you have the mummy, who, what I like is how they do make the mummy appear in the first issue. The pacing was really good, the art's really pleasing, it's nice and refreshing, very different, very indie. There's a really nice bit of back matter with artwork. $4.99, but it is cardstock and you get a lot of back matter, which unlike the Bug Wars, which was floppy, this feels more higher quality. And she also gives a reason for what I like that piece as well. She gives a reason for why she wants to do this. It's kind of like bittersweet, and it's well worth a read. It just fills in more about her creative process for doing this comic, and I would give this a solid 8 out of 10. And my final Image comic is Kids. This is part of the Knife Circle. So Garth Ennis, Joe Pruitt and others formed like this little kind of like creative group, and they called it Knife Circle, and they're going to focus on just doing horror stories, mainly one shots, like in this oversized format. And I really like it. And to be honest, as I mentioned earlier, I've stopped getting Distillery now physical. I'm just going to let finish some series off what I already started, but I'm going to get them in hardback in future. But this is done in the same format as Distillery, apart from it not being square bound, but it is hardcover in the same size, same page count as well. But because it's not square bound, it is a little bit cheaper. It's $7.99, which helps, and the other thing that helps, the one shots. So you're not invested for 3 or 4 issues, and you're not having to wait months before the next issue. The one and done, and they might do another story later on, but they might not. And it's that works for me. I love this cover. So it's written by Garth Ennis. It looks like Garth Ennis is really getting back to his horror roots now, and its artwork is by Dalibor Talajic. I think he did some Punisher comics with Garth Ennis. I could be wrong, but it's good. It's very, very Cronenbergian. So what I like about this, so an event happens, and they don't really explain how it happens. Basically, what happens? Old babies across the world suddenly turn into adults, but they're still babies, but they've got the bodies of adults. What a brilliant, genius concept for a horror story. You don't realise how horrific it would be, because they'd have the strength of an adult, but without the brain function, and they would not know what they can and can't do. From simple things like walking, they wouldn't be able to walk properly, they wouldn't be able to feed themselves, they wouldn't be able to clean themselves. They just, and if they're angry, they just lash out like they do as a baby. And so it really is horrific, and there's a great character in here. There's this old lady. She's this one here, really good character. She's got all the best lines. Garth Ennis writes really good old women. Maybe he was one in his past life, but it's very satisfying. I can't give too much away. You need to read it. Like I said, it's a one shot, and I will give a word of caution. It is quite shocking. There is some bits in that actually made me grimace. It's the small details. What you blink and you miss it. Like there's one bit where this baby is just lashing out, grabs what I think is his oldest brother, because he's the size of a man now. His older brother's on like 3 or 4, and he just swings him like a rag doll. And I just imagine what that effect that has if there's like a lamppost nearby. I'll just leave it at that. That really made me go, ugh. So yeah, it is a true horror comic. Like I said, it's got that cold clinical feel of a Cronenberg movie. And yeah, I had a blast with this, and I'll give it a 9 out of 10. So that's my image haul for the past 3 weeks. My next video will be looking at the other publishers, which will include Marvel, because I have got a few Marvel comics, and I shall see you soon. If I can stop this, bye.